Good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a pleasant spring break, excuse me, or as pleasant as you could with our stay-at-home order in effect. But in any case, I sent an email last night with some information. If you didn't have a chance to look at it last night, I would encourage you to review it this morning. Essentially, what it I went through all of the feedback that I got on Socrative, which again, thank you very much to everybody who went to Socrative and took that survey. The survey is worth extra credit, so I'm asking you to put your name into this survey, and I will be giving out 5 points of extra credit for everyone who completes the survey. So there's no end date on that. You can earn that at any time. So if you didn't get a chance to go to Socrative and take the survey, you can do that anytime that you would like. Anyway, there's a lot of things that I learned from you as far as your preferences and what you all are looking for when it comes to online learning. So I did my best to try to outline what the weeks are going to look like going forward. I've also had a question from a student as far as will we be returning to campus? Harper has not officially made a decision one way or the other what's going to happen after April 12th. We don't know. We have not heard. As soon as I get that information, I'm sure you as students will get that information shortly as well, but I will be sure to share it with you. My gut feeling is that we will finish the semester online. With everything that's going on and how things are sort of changing and continuing to change on a daily basis as far as the virus is concerned, I seriously doubt they will let almost 100 of us get back in a room together anytime soon. So what that means is most likely we will finish off this semester online. It doesn't change a lot for us. It does change a few things. Up until this point, I have been having you hold on to your lab pages that you're completing each week. And I said that you would turn those into me at some point. I still plan to have that happen. I just have to modify what that looks like. So rather than coming to campus and turning those pages into me, we're going to have to be a little bit more creative and come up with something else. I have a few ideas floating around in my mind. I don't necessarily want to give you information yet until I'm more certain about what this is going to look like. But it probably is going to involve a week in May when we were originally supposed to take a field trip anyway. I'm considering not actually having the field trip, but encouraging you to maybe come to the field trip site and check the site out and drop those pages off. Again, I don't want to get into too many specifics because a lot can change between now and early May. We're not exactly sure what type of orders from the state and the governor or from the president will be out at that time. So we'll just kind of hold on to that. So hold on to your lab pages. You will eventually get them to me. We'll figure out the details later. So let's take a look at this week's flexible learning. So as I mentioned in the email that I sent to everyone, I've somewhat changed the organization of where things are organized. You no longer need to go to the Unit 3 folder and the lab materials folder. Instead, just go to the Unit 3 folder and you'll see that this week is up March 30th through April 5th. What I've done is I've put both things in the same place. So I have a lecture materials folder and a lab materials folder. So you don't have to bounce around anymore between those sort of different Unit 3 folder and the original lab materials folder. I'm putting everything in one place now because people seemed to like that. You'll also see that I do have the tasks link here. I got some good feedback on tasks. People seemed to like that. Keep in mind with the tasks that you need to check them off when you complete them. So it's not something I do on my end. It's actually a tool just for you. So once you submit the drinking water quality homework, you check that off and then that task is done for you. And then it shows you what other things you have to do. So again, it's not something that I keep track of, but this is purely just for you to keep track of the things that we have going on this week. So again, people found that helpful. I'm going to continue to do that. Lecture material folder is where you're going to find the chapter 14 notes. This week we're going to be talking about solid and hazardous waste. So we've kind of been on a progression, if you've noticed. We started with air and air pollution, and then we moved on to water and water pollution, and now we're moving on to what we're going to call land pollution, sort of our solid waste. So that's what's in this particular, that's on tap for this week. I don't have the lectures recorded yet. I will be honest with you. I also kind of took a break last week during spring break and just kind of took time to decompress and kind of walk away from everything for a while. And I hope you did too. But what that means is that I had the folder and everything prepared and ready to go for you, but I don't have the lectures yet. So I will be doing those lectures and recording those a little bit later this afternoon. So I hope to have those up for you by the end of the day today. The lab material folder is just like we saw previously. This week we're going to be talking about soil. I did an intro video for you like I did last time. A lot of people also said they liked the video that went over the lab. Please note though that I slightly changed the instructions for the soil lab versus when I did the video. Originally when I did the video, I was just going to have you use a picture of a soil profile. But then I thought to myself, you know what? The weather's nice enough. The ground's not frozen. Go get outside. Go get some soil. So I slightly changed the written instructions that you will see here to actually, again, just go outside and dig up some soil. If you don't have a shovel and you don't have a hand trowel, use any metal object. So use a metal spatula or a big metal spoon, or you can even use a butter knife and cut like a little hole in the ground and pull the soil up. So there's lots of different ways that you can get at the soil. But I would encourage you to just get outside. I know one of the things that a lot of you are missing, in addition to sort of the face-to-face contact with each other, but also the fact that we were just getting to the good part, right? We were just getting to the part where we got to go outside and we got to do all these labs. And I know for a lot of you that was it's kind of a bummer, let's be honest. But that doesn't mean that I still can't try to get you outside for some of these labs. So with the surface water lab, it wasn't really possible based on the type of data that you needed to collect. You couldn't do it. But for the soils lab, you just need to get some soil. You're just going to look at the color of it anyway, and you're going to play around with it with some water and try to make shapes out of it. So if you have the ability to do that, I highly encourage you to do that this week. Go out, go dig around in the ground, get yourself some soil, and then use that to complete this week's lab. So again, there's a instructional video that goes a little bit more into detail on how to do that as well. So that's lab for this week. For lecture, again, I have the notes and I have your assignment. Your assignment this week, please keep in mind, and I will post this when I post the announcement for this video. This is a 3-day assignment, and I know it sounds just like, wow, 3 days. No, it's just a trash log. I'd like you to keep track of everything you throw away for 3 days, any 3 days this week. It doesn't matter. And you're just going to write down what you threw away. This also includes what you recycle too. So if you do recycle at home and you have a separate sort of recycling place, put those things down too. So, you know, the paper products and the plastic products and things that you toss out, anything you toss out, write it down and tell me where it goes. And then you're just going to answer like a quick question after 3 days about what did you learn about your disposal habits, and you know, what are some ways you can reduce your waste, some things like that. So it's really basic, but it does take 3 days. So I want you to plan ahead for that. So as far as assignments go for this week, I was also told, you also gave me feedback that having everything due on one day is preferable, and I totally agree. Sunday night seemed to work the best for everyone, so we're going to continue to do Sunday night due dates. This week all we have is the lab quiz. We have the trash diary, and what am I forgetting? You have a lab quiz, and you have a trash diary. Oh, and then if you have blog assignments this week, if it's your turn to post a blog, or if it's your turn to post responses to a blog, that would be your other assignment this week. And so again, that's it. So again, try to complete the lab. If you stay on top of these things, it makes the lab quizzes easier to take when you actually do the labs. So complete the lab this week, watch the lecture videos, go through the notes. I also mentioned in my email that I sent out to you all is that due dates are flexible. And so if you're feeling a lot of pressure right now, which I'm sure many of us are with trying to convert all of these things we used to do face to face, and we're putting it all online now. If it's too much, then just tell me and say, you know what, I've got so much going on this week. I'm not going to be able to get whatever done. You know, I need a little extra time. And I will always say, sure, no problem. Like I get it. This is not the arrangement we all signed up for. This isn't what we thought this semester would look like. And especially if you have concerns over accessing materials, if you have concerns about being able to complete things in time, and you know, your internet is spotty, or you have to drive somewhere to get access to Wi-Fi, or whatever these things are, we'll work through it. Just communicate with me. I just want to make sure that you're what's a good way to put it? There are some students who will remain on top of things, and they will do the best that they can, and they will put effort into this, and that's all that I ask is effort. There might be some students who don't do things not because they don't have access to them, or they're overwhelmed, or they're busy. They just don't want to. Hopefully, none of you are in that former category of I just don't want to. And hopefully, again, we can kind of work through anything else. There's not a whole lot I can do if you just don't want to do things. But I can work with you on just about everything else. So please remember that you can always do that. One other thing I want to mention, because now my video is running long. I like 10-minute videos, and this is getting too lengthy. Someone also asked about having a place where they can go to ask questions versus just emailing me. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I opened up the discussion boards. They were already open for exam questions if anybody had them. But now I opened up a new forum. It's just a need help, try asking a question forum. So if there's something that you want to ask, maybe not specifically to me, you just want to ask the class, here's a good place to go. So go to the discussion board, and you'll click on the forum. And then what you do is you click on create a thread, and you can type whatever you want here. So you could type a question about water pollution. I don't know, whatever it happens to be. And then you would type what your question is, hey, can anyone help me with physical pollutants in water? What are they? Okay, so then you would go to submit, which, sorry, that's hiding behind my little thing right here. Okay, you go to submit. And here's the question, right? It posted here, questions about water pollution. So if you're browsing the discussion board and you see it and you're like, oh, someone has a question about water pollutants. Hey, I can answer that. And then you can hit reply. And you can be like, oh, yeah, I can answer that question for you. Here are the physical pollutants in water, right? So this is a way that you guys can sort of communicate a little bit more with each other. And it's also a way that you can ask some questions that maybe you don't feel necessarily comfortable asking me. I will say, though, that questions that are posted here, if they don't get student responses, I'm going to come and respond to them, right? So I want to make sure that all questions get answered, but I'll leave it open for a little bit for students to answer. Again, just in case you want to, you know, reach out to your fellow classmates and help with problems that they may have. So that's all for this week. Again, it was slightly lengthier than I had intended. Again, I like 10-minute videos. That's my goal. This one's approaching 15. I promise I won't talk so much every week. But I do want to let you know that I'm going to be in communication with you. So I'm going to be posting these weekly videos, and I'm going to be sending emails in the middle of the week saying, how's everything going? How's everyone doing? I'm going to do a summary Sunday night on sort of the week and what we learned and what we have to look forward to. Communication is key, and it's hard to have that communication when we're not face-to-face. I also have those office hours still, so there are links in your weekly folder for the virtual office hours. Chat with me. I'm going to be available on Tuesday from 1 to 1:30, Thursday, my office hours are a little bit different because of a schedule conflict, so I will be on in the morning from 10 to 10:30. So click the link, stop on by, ask me a question, whatever it happens to be. So I want you to have an ability to sort of communicate with me face to face through technology, since we don't really get a lot of that right now. So that's all for this week. Good luck, everybody. And again, please let me know if you have any questions at all. Thanks, everyone.